I'm in the middle of doing my makeup, so don't mind this. We're going to be talking about something that I think needs to be talked about. So let's get into the video. So as a lot of you guys who are subscribed probably know, and also while I'm here, shameless self-promo, subscribe to my channel. I did a video a little while ago talking about my undiagnosed eating disorder. And in it, I talked about the fact that even when I had, when I was at the worst of it, I was never, I'm gonna say the word skinny, and I hate using that word because it sounds horrible when you're talking about an eating disorder, but I'm gonna use it just to make it easy. I was never thin, I was never the weight that you're supposed to be classified to be considered to have an eating disorder. So, once I stopped, once I got healthy, or at least healthy for, yeah, once I got healthy, I gained a lot of weight because that's one of the side effects. After you've lost that much weight and you don't eat yourself, your body kind of goes into starvation mode, and you end up gaining a lot of weight, which most of the time when people have eating disorders and end up, going into recovery ends up being a good thing, because a lot of times people who are diagnosed, because they have been very thin, when they gain weight, they end up becoming a healthy weight, and people are all of a sudden so proud of them, and it's this amazing thing, and it's awesome, and it's great. No shame to them, that's true, it is awesome, it is great. But for somebody like me, who was never really actually that thin in the first place, when I started to get better, I gained too much weight. Or I may not have gained, the same amount of weight that somebody else with an eating disorder would have gained once they got into recovery, but because I wasn't that underweight, thin body type, it ended up making me overweight. So now, I'm having health problems that are connected to being overweight. And as somebody who has suffered from eating disorder in the past, honestly, that can be really triggering. I was talking to a doctor the one day, and they're like, about this health problem I've been having, and they're like, oh yeah, well, he's like, I'm not trying to say anything against you. He's like, I'm not saying, I don't know your life, I don't know who you are, I'm not saying that you're lazy or that you don't eat healthy or anything like that, but I'm just saying you are overweight, and sometimes this health problem can be, connected to weight gain. Have you gained a lot recently? And I was like, well, honestly, in the past this amount of time, I've gained this much weight because of this reason. He's like, that makes my job really difficult, because he's like, I don't know how to, juggle having you lose weight for, because he's like, you're not that overweight. He's like, if you're that overweight, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, we have to make you lose weight. He's like, and really this health problem isn't it's not fatal, it's not. So he's like, I don't know how to juggle having you lose weight, but then also being able to keep the mental aspect intact. Because I was like, I don't know if I feel comfortable trying to lose weight without going back to how I was. And he's like, and I had another doctor I was talking to about my brain disorder, the IAH, which can be common, females who are overweight. And she's like, even she said the same thing. She's like, you're not overweight enough for me to be that worried about it. And she's like, and honestly, even if you were to lose weight, I'd only want you to lose maximum 10 pounds, because she's like, you'd be surprised what that little amount can do. And I was like, I don't know if for me I can lose just 10 pounds. I think once I get on the weight loss train, I don't know, it scares me, because for me, when I first started to want to lose weight, it started with just 10 pounds. And it was like, oh, well, I lost the 10 pounds, and that was really super easy, so why don't I just keep pushing it? And then I got to even more weight, and even more weight, and then I got to the point where I wanted to be a specific number, and then I got to just this really unhealthy obsession. So, I don't feel like that's talked about enough, the fact that even after you've, gone into recovery, there's still a lot of health problems associated with it. And a lot of times when people say that they've recovered, we just automatically assume that all these health problems have gone away, and we congratulate them, and they deserve to be congratulated, it's true, but nobody really talks about the struggles that still happen in recovery. I'm pretty lucky where I don't have a lot of people comment on my weight, at least negatively. Most people that like, and I mean that's weird considering I do YouTube videos. Like I'm a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call me. I'm on a lot of different social media apps. I show my body, I show my face. I don't know how I haven't had a negative like comment yet, and it was never really people calling me fat. I don't necessarily know if that was what bothered me. I think it was more at one point I started to lose weight because, well, I just naturally did. I got older and my body kind of started to proportion itself better. But a lot of people started congratulating me and telling me it looks better. And I think that like wasn't true. Like there's a lot that goes into an eating disorder. I'm not saying like it was their fault or whatever. Like that's not true. But I feel like I'm in a place now where if somebody on here is to turn and be like, well, you are fat, like I'd probably be like, yeah. I don't know what it is about me and wanting to be a certain size, because I don't even necessarily think that like I have to be that size to be beautiful. I think that girls my size are beautiful, but I think it's also the health thing. Like I very much like I want to be healthy, so then my mind is like, oh, it's like, you know, if I was to lose weight, I'd be healthy. So I want to be a size that the internet tells me is healthy. You know, like everybody's like, oh, if you have like, I remember when I was really bad, I used to look up what like the healthiest waist size would be. And I'm not going to share numbers, but it was X number, and I remember freaking out because I wasn't that number, so that meant I wasn't healthy. Which the other things I was doing was definitely even more unhealthy than the fact that my waist wasn't the healthiest waist size. But that's just I guess that's how it works. I don't really understand what happens in the brain when it comes to mental illnesses, or at least when it comes to eating disorders. I kind of understand what happens in the brain when it comes to anxiety and like the connections and serotonin, and like I have a basic understanding of that. Like I couldn't teach it, but like I kind of the puzzle pieces are there. I kind of get it. But for the eating disorder, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And even when I was doing it, it was like in the back of my mind I knew logically that it didn't make sense, but it just didn't register. And now like there's other things that have happened where it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, this happens because of your weight or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, so if I lost weight, I could either do this or be like this or have this, and then it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, great. So basically what you're telling me is my body is literally telling me to lose weight. Even though doctors have said, you have a little weight, but like you're not that bad. But then my body is like, no, I don't like it. So now I have to figure out a way with doctors and therapists and stuff. And I also saw a nutritionist at one point, which I want to go see again. The group of us have to figure out a way for me to healthily lose weight without getting back into the cycle. So I think it needs to be talked about more, that even when somebody's recovered, they're not, it's sometimes not a full recovery. There's relapses, there's like, it's kind of a lifelong thing. I'm not saying it doesn't get better, because it does get better. Like, I'm in a much better place than I was when I was at, like, the worst of it. I'm terrified to get back in that place again, and I do not want it to take control of my life again. But anyways, I know this video is kind of depressing. I've been seeing a lot of, like, eating disorder recovery videos lately, and I think that's absolutely amazing. I love it. Like, I'm so happy that you guys are recovering. It's great. Like, support each other, you know, work with your therapist, get better. But I also want people who are maybe struggling from an eating disorder and who are watching these videos and are trying to get better to know that it's not going to be one day you all of a sudden get better. It's kind of like, I think of it as like a cold. And I know there's different strains of the cold, and like the eating disorder is one thing, but go with me on this one. it's like how you might get a cold twice 1 year, and it lasts for a couple weeks at a time, but then it ends at one point and it's done, and you don't think about that cold again, but eventually you're probably going to get a cold again. Like, it comes back, it goes back and forth type thing, and there, you might have a couple years where, like, if you have a really good immune system or a really good support system, it might not come back at all for a really long time, but then there might be one day where, I guess right now we're wearing masks, so hopefully nobody sneezes on you in public, but if somebody sneezes on you in public, you might get a cold again. Like, so an eating disorder, yeah, you can get better, but you can relapse. I hope that makes sense. I just, like I said, I don't want girls who are, or even boys who are, like, in recovery to think that once you recover, that's it, you're done, like, everything's perfect, because that's not true. So I think I'm going to end the video there. I think this might be my Saturday's video. I have a couple other videos filmed, or I'm filming, working on type thing in the works, but I've been thinking about this lately, so I'm like, I kind of want to get it up, so then we can start talking about it. Also, while I'm here, I just want to say, I'm not going anywhere, because I love doing this. I think it's so much fun. The camera cut out for a second. Yeah, I think it's so much fun to film videos and be able to talk to you guys, and I really love doing this, but it's honestly getting kind of discouraging, only because, I'll also do the ears. Anyways, only because I feel like I'm not where I want to be. Like, I had set a goal for myself, and I am nowhere near that goal. And at this point, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to reach that goal for a lot longer than what I had originally anticipated. And so it's getting really hard doing this when it's like, I'm doing something that I want it to be a good thing, but it's getting really hard when I'm setting these goals for myself and I'm not making it, and I don't know how to change that. Does that make sense? So I'm not going to go anywhere. Like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going, and even if it takes me like 5 years to accomplish a goal that I had originally set for myself for like 6 months, then I guess it's going to take 5 years. Even saying that is like stressing me out, but I'm not going anywhere. And I shouldn't be complaining, because I love the fact that I'm on here, and I love the fact that you guys are watching my videos and that you're interested in me, and I love the fact that I'm able to talk about issues that I think are real, kind of like this video, and I love the fact that I'm able to do all that. But I'm letting you know, as a YouTuber, kind of the behind the scenes things of sometimes I don't feel very creative, and sometimes I get discouraged. I'm a human. Hi. I'm not a robot. I know where the bicycles are, and if you understand, then comment down below. But yeah, anyways, I'm doing this very depressing and sad video here. I love you guys. Please stay safe and healthy. Cheers.